monster. But you might remember this Boros Delirium aggro deck. It was one that we had like a crazy high win rate with when we first played it like 5 or 6 months ago. And it was kind of interesting too, where obviously it's a Boros aggro deck and it isn't playing most of the energy elements. It is playing Phlage, but it's not playing Guide, it's not playing Pride, it's not playing Ajani, it's not playing Bombardment. But it was beating Boros energy really consistently. And it also had a faster Goldfish than regular Boros, with the downside of being, of course, notably weaker to graveyard hate. But it's kind of red base instead of white base, leaning in on like the Delirium elements for DRC and FOMO, as well as getting access to being a good Steel Cutter deck because you have access to card selection between Faithless Looting. You can play a lot more non-creature spells. You get access to Phoenix and Phlage to discard for value. Very good Arena of Glory deck, really good at looting Phlage away for value. And this is a deck that I had liked a lot, and we had a really high record with, and we just kind of moved on. It didn't seem like it got adapted that much. And we ended up trying it again with Cosmogrand Zenith when that card came out, when we were still on the recommissions. And Zenith was fine. I remember like that shell went totally fine, but it wasn't necessarily anything super impressive or exciting, I think. And I wanted to kind of come back to it, moving away from the recommissions, where I've kind of felt like that card can be a little bit weird on your mana curve. I was also really interested in just going down a Seasoned Pyromancer, which I know is kind of weird, but I wanted to go up a Phlage, and I wanted to keep like the 3 drops kind of more consistent, and then the recommissions got out of there. And I also just wanted to make the Phoenixes better. Just play the full 4 Phoenix, 4/4 Phlage, just to make the lootings better, and play Street Wraith so that your Phoenixes are better. It also makes the Delirium cards better too. So nothing too crazy. Definitely like something we have played most of before, but it's one of these decks that we were doing super well with when we were playing it. It did not get widely adopted, and we just kind of moved on. And every once in a while, I like to come back to a deck like this and see like what was that hot streak with it kind of just a hot streak, or was this like a hidden gem that is overlooked? And I feel like this is a good day to do that kind of thing. With the looting and the Phoenix, we can keep this. I mean, I think it's good to do no spoilers for Avatar right now, because I don't know, maybe people are going to get into it since it's coming to Magic, right? I don't know how often that happens. I think it happened a lot with Final Fantasy. Any trends in the meta since the recent BNR? I've been vacationing on my honeymoon in Japan, and this is my first time playing Magic in 2.5 weeks, so I don't know. From what I can tell by watching things online, or like keeping up a little bit with like Goldfish reports, it mostly seems like things have not changed a lot. Okay, well, we mostly are dead to Game 1 Leyline Scion. Maybe I did cut the 3rd Wear Tear. Maybe this was a mistake. I did not get recognized by anybody in Japan, though. It doesn't seem like Magic is all that popular in Japan. Like most card shops, like we like kind of stopped by in Akibar, did not have Magic. Didn't end up going to like Haruyuya though. They did mold to 6 this game. Do we try to fight through? Let's keep going here. Did I feel tall in Japan? I definitely hit my head a bunch. A lot of like doorways. Like some of the subways I didn't have to crouch to get into, and then some of them I would hit my head if I didn't crouch. So I hit my head a bunch. I think I'll play 1 Blood Moon on the play. I probably don't need much more than that. I think I might cut all the bolts. Yeah, but I feel tall all the time. Yeah, none of the slippers that they had for like the cafes and stuff fit. Probably one surgical, they run Phlage. I'm not sure. Like, they play like 3 Phlages, but they also like Doorkeeper throw Phlage a lot. So like the surgical's not as good against them, and we're on the play. We have our own Phlages, but maybe we do. All right, let's try this on the play. Do people recognize me outside of nerd spaces that often? Not very often. It does happen sometimes. I think most often at concerts, someone will recognize me. Sometimes I get like sometimes people like look at me like for a long time, and I don't know if I'm just weird looking or if I have something on my face or whatever, or if they are like, wait, do I recognize that person? Yeah, thankfully no ley line this time. How do I turn off the hover zoom? I think I do that in the settings here. I think I'm just gonna surveil instead of casting the other looting right now. Let's keep a Wear Tear. It's gonna be good against Leyline Binding or Scion still probably. I've heard Tokyo is getting tourism fatigue and some parts are not welcoming if you don't speak Japanese. We didn't like go like probably into too many like non-touristy parts honestly, but I think for the most part these kind of like I saw some of these videos too. I think they're mostly like things I wouldn't pay a lot of attention to. The people in Japan were without exception really friendly, and I would say that Tokyo especially seemed to be like very used to foreign people and very accommodating. I don't know. Like I went to the Woodblock Museum, and there was this like sweet old Japanese man who was like just like he was probably 5 feet tall, but I don't know why that's relevant. But he was just like probably like in his 80s, and but just every he was next to me, and every like information display he would just translate it to English, and he would just point to it. He would point to me and look to me like make sure you read this. It was very sweet. He would translate it to English for me, and he would just point, and we didn't talk at all. There was no interaction, but he would just translate it and point, and it was very cute. All right, I have 3 Phlages in the yard. They decided to exile a looting. Probably going to chump block with a token here. Don't want to triple block because they could get domain off the Arid Mesa. All right, let's start off by going FOMO, discard, Wear Tear. We do have Delirium once we crack the fetch. I think I'm going to leave the Spyro back so I can block the Kavu and bolt it. Like everything online, most of it's rage bait. Yeah, exactly. I don't usually pay much attention to that. Honestly, like, even more so than the Japanese people were very polite. I think I have the opinion that people everywhere are really polite. They just have different different, like what polite to them is culturally a little different, and it's, good to try to understand that when you travel somewhere, but I don't think there's really a place on earth where people aren't genuinely polite and like happy to meet new people and want to live a comfortable, happy life with their loved ones and their family. I think for the most part, most people everywhere are like that. Sprawn with the 36 months. Thank you. Welcome back. Happy 3 years. And I would take anything you read online about a group of people with many grains of salt, or just mostly ignore that kind of stuff. Counterpoint Paris. I've never been to Paris. All right, it's got first strike now. Let's go ahead and take the hit. We drew a Spyro. Seems like it's going to be difficult for me to not escape a Phlage this turn. I'm going to send with everything, and I think I'm going to FOMO the Channeler. I guess it's probably better to FOMO the Spyro, since they're probably going to block the Channeler or the FOMO first. Thank you, Strong, for 3 years. Feels to be back in Elegant with the 44. Troll with the 27. Thank y'all too. I've been to many places, and people are pretty cool in my experience. There's almost always some degree of you get what you give, but the world is pretty great. Yeah, I agree. I think if, this applies not to traveling too, but if you are just friendly and nice to other people and give like any stranger you meet the benefit of the doubt, and give people the opportunity to, like it's just like kind of expect people to be generally nice. I think people pretty rarely will just disappoint you. All right, let's escape a Phlage. Yeah, I'm not a very good travel vlogger. I mean, it was also like 2 full weeks. It's a lot to recap too. But it was great. It was beautiful. I really enjoyed my time there. All right, probably gonna exile one of the 2 Phlages. No, actually, maybe I just leave both of them in the yard because they've got the Kavu. That's probably what we want to do. And then I could leave the Spyro because of the activated ability. Let's leave the Looting instead, since we do have 2 Delirium cards in play. We might want to get Delirium again. They have a Doorkeeper? They do have another Doorkeeper, okay. So we might be in some trouble. We are dead if they have a Binding, I guess. I did use the bidets for the first time. I still am unsure how I feel about it. Gloom with the 62 months? Yeah, finally fresh VODs again, huh? Yeah, honeymoon over. We are back. I live in Rio, and sometimes having too many tourists sucks. I get the passive aggressiveness because sometimes they're... Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think as a tourist, too, it's like... I think if you make the effort to understand your boundaries and understand what's polite, I don't think people usually mind very much. Okay, down against Domain here. We do have a new set coming out on Tuesday. And I was thinking I wanted to stream Saturday, and I would still like to, but maybe I don't want to burn myself out too much. We've got a brand new set coming out Tuesday too. So on the draw against Titan, game 1 when you're on the draw is usually pretty tough, but sometimes you can have a fast win on the play. Okay, so I guess we're always going to be cycling the Wraith main phase here, so it doesn't really matter too much. Got to keep a second land. They're drawing a Simic Growth Chamber first. I think early access was yesterday for Arena. So for Magic Online, it's today and tomorrow. And it starts, I think it starts like 30 minutes ago for today. I'm also like not on the Arena early access stuff anymore, which is sad. Like I definitely would play some Arena early access. I don't really even know who to reach out to see if I can get back on the list, but I should look into that. All right, one of basic planes kind of getting us here. Okay, a little bit ungot. So if I discard one of my instants or one of my creatures, then we can have Delirium. I think I'll probably discard Spyro Plains. Kind of like holding second Bauble for Cori. I mean, we just didn't have a land in our hand, but maybe it was better. I guess we did see the land. No, we started off the second Bauble, didn't we? All right, so let's see if we get turn 3'd here on the draw. There's a similar version. It's like playing 4 Ragavan, 4 Amber, 4 Moon, 3 Zao. Turn 1 Zao is good. I do think Zao is interesting. Okay, dead to 4 land Splunking Scape Shift. Don't have the Avatar cards yet. Okay, so bring in the Blood Moons, bring in the Wear Tears. I do think I'm going to bring in the 2 Charmaws. One thing I'm a little bit less sure on is the Surgicals, but I mostly do think I want to cut really down on Bolts. I want to cut down to Phoenix. I want to cut down to Phlage. Maybe even more on those. I think the Spyros are like get cut because the Blood Moons fill their spot on the curve. So maybe we'll play like 2 Surgicals for the Scapeshift Analyst loop-de-doops. Seems like a good number. Yeah, seems fine. think Vexing Bauble probably hurts you about as much as it helps you. Yeah, as far as Zhao goes, Commander Zhao, I don't know how good that card is unless you have something like Agatha Soul Cauldron or the fetchable. You're like a fetchable white. How do I not know the name? The fetchable white land that puts a counter on your creature. Like just a way to get counters on your Zhao that's not spend 6 mana. No Meltdown for Amulet Constructs. I usually don't think Meltdown ends up being very good against Titan. Despite like the meme of like, oh, they have to expose the Amulet. Sometimes people do just like it is right a lot of the time as Amulet to just not play your Amulet out against sorcery speed removal like Prismatic Ending and or Meltdown. A lot of times Meltdown does nothing against Urza Saga getting the amulet and then killing you. And also like killing amulets is not as good a plan when you're on your blood moons, and killing amulets is also not that exciting against Spelunking a lot of the time. So, you know, if Meltdown was instant speed, I would probably be playing it, but it's not, so I just don't think it's quite there. I do think this hand's a little bit, you know, no sideboard cardy on the play. We were on the play with a good aggro plan, and the Wraith and the Channeler can give us some selection to look for one of our mini sideboard cards. Yeah, the MTG bot's down, although this is a new league, so we should probably reset the record here. Oh, keep that. How many Avatar builder rounds do you have in mind? I don't have a number. Like, I've been looking at spoilers, right? I've been looking at spoilers, and I'm gonna make my Avatar video, and when I do, I'll have a better idea, right? And then y'all can watch, and y'all can know with me, I guess. All right, so gonna play this Blood Moon. The 6 is gonna be pretty good at digging them for Besage You if they don't already have it. I think I'm gonna graveyard that. They find the Besage You immediately. Might be better to be playing Magus, but I think his Blood Moon just a little bit more versatile. They get to play the Lotus Field untapped, and the Blood Moon gets to be actively a helpful thing for my opponent. Very fun. Thankfully, I probably should just discard the land. Well, a little bit of value here. Wait, they have something else? They have the Sweeper. Oh, a Dismember. Yeah, no changes. I don't know. I do think the Titan deck... They did say they're watchlisting Titan. They're giving themselves more BNR updates. I don't want to be too whiny. Oh, wait, so I guess we are 0-2. Forgot we played a match already. Don't want to be too much of a whiny baby about the Titan stuff, but I will say, like, it was like kind of funny in the announcement. Like they called like the combo like not inherently problematic. I guess this might be a good time to pull up the BNR, just go over some of the stuff. And overall, I think no changes is fine. No changes is fine.